A Head Full of Ghosts, authored by Paul Tremblay in 2015 and published by William Morrow, stands as the fifth installment among his 10 novels. This chilling horror tale was picked up for a potential screen adaptation by Focus Features in 2016. Tremblay's seventh novel, The Cabin at the End of the World, 2018, not only secured prestigious recognition through the Bram Stoker and Locus Awards, but also found its way to the big screen in 2023 as Knock at the Cabin, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Acknowledging Tremblay's writing prowess, Stephen King himself took to Twitter to declare that A Head Full of Ghosts had scared the living hell out of me, a compliment Tremblay greatly cherishes. This recognition catapulted the novel into the spotlight, significantly boosting its readership. Paul Tremblay hails from Massachusetts, his native and current residence, and he masterfully weaves many of his fictional narratives within this locale. With a master's degree in mathematics, Tremblay's love for horror has driven his career, and he's played a vital role as a jury member for the Shirley Jackson Prize since its inception in 2007. A Head Full of Ghosts delves into a series of interviews between Meredith Merry Barrett and author Rachel Neville. Rachel is engrossed in researching a non-fiction project centered on the infamous documentary, The Possession, which prominently features Mary's family. The documentary's disturbing aftermath involves the apparent murder-suicide of Mary's parents and sister. Throughout the novel, the narrative is interspersed with blog posts from someone using the alias Karen Brissett, who is eventually unveiled as Mary herself, writing under a pseudonym. As Mary recounts her experiences, Rachel becomes increasingly aware of the unreliability of Mary's recollections, as they appear tainted by personal motives and a thirst for attention rather than an authentic attempt to recall events accurately. 15 years in the past, Mary recounts a turbulent period in her family's life. Her sister, Marjorie Barrett, who was just 14 at the time, began displaying alarming and bizarre behavior marked by sudden paranoia and psychosis. Concerned for her well-being, their parents sought professional help from a psychiatrist. However, Marjorie's resistance to treatment, largely due to her objection to the medication's side effects and the family's financial struggles, posed significant challenges. The household was fraught with tension, exacerbated by frequent arguments between their parents, which they scarcely bothered to conceal from their daughters. The father had lost his job at a toy factory and had been unemployed for a year and a half. Although the mother continued to work at a bank, the family faced the looming threat of foreclosure. Adding to the complexity, the father, in a misguided effort driven by newfound religious fervor, secretly took Marjorie to see his priest without her consent, further entangling the church in Marjorie's deteriorating condition. One day, Mary received surprising news that their family was to be the subject of a documentary for the Discovery Channel, chronicling the exorcism planned by her father's priest to rid Marjorie of her demons. Mary recounts this unsettling chapter with a detached and somewhat self-absorbed tone, even though she is now an adult. She admits to Rachel that she runs a horror blog and invites her to peruse it, specifically highlighting her entries on the possession. In these blog posts, she writes about the events as if she were an impartial observer. Mary further discloses that her sister, Marjorie, confessed to differentiating between the voices she heard and a malevolent presence. She deliberately acted out in the hopes of making the documentary sensational, believing it would somehow benefit the struggling family. Mary recounts how the presence of the film crew only added to the already mounting stress within their home. As Marjorie's exorcism unfolded, tensions escalated, culminating in a violent incident involving a priest and Marjorie's deliberate leap from an upstairs balcony. The film production team and the church eventually abandoned the family in the wake of these shocking events. After a period of hospitalization, Marjorie returned home, but her mental health struggles persisted despite visits from a state-appointed psychiatrist. In a climactic revelation, Mary discloses to Rachel and the reader her participation in a tragic event, the poisoning of her parents and sister. She claims that Marjorie had manipulated her into taking part. As the novel concludes, Rachel admits to feeling deeply unsettled and perplexed by Mary's story and her actions. Mary, seemingly unaffected, casually walks away, anticipating the publication of a book that she believes will center around her. She eagerly anticipates the financial and attention-driven rewards she expects to reap as a result. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.